What if an AI company built a model so powerful that the US government ordered it pulled offline? Not because it was reckless, but because it refused to help the government spy on American citizens. That is not a hypothetical. That is exactly what has been unfolding between the Trump administration and Anthropic, the company behind Claude, over the last 4 months. And this week, it escalated to a level nobody saw coming. Let me break down the full story, because this has massive implications for every founder, operator, and technologist who is building with AI right now. But before I do, if you are new here, quick context on who I am and why I am covering this. My name is Todd Jennings. I have spent over 30 years as a CTO and founder across SaaS, healthcare, logistics, and sports technology. Today I run Cyber Tiger Technologies, where I work with companies as a fractional CTO and AI automation advisor and engineer. Additionally, I founded and run the Startup Venture Lab, a community built for founders and operators who want to build smarter with AI. This video is for you if you are a founder, operator, developer, or business leader who is building with AI or trying to figure out where AI regulation is heading and what that means for your stack, your strategy, and your competitive position. By the end of this video, you will understand the full arc of what has happened between the US government and Anthropic, why it matters far beyond one company, and 3 specific things you should be thinking about as someone who builds with AI professionally. Let's get into it. First, a little context, because Anthropic is not your typical AI company. It was founded in 2021 by Dario Amodei, Daniela Amodei, and several other former OpenAI researchers who believed the industry was moving too fast without enough safety guardrails. Their entire brand identity, their reason for existing, is what they call responsible AI development. They have deployed Claude on classified US government networks. They were the first AI company to do that. The Department of Defense was using Claude for intelligence analysis, operational planning, and cyber operations. They had a $200 million contract with the Pentagon. And crucially, that contract had 2 very specific restrictions baked in. 2 things Anthropic said their AI could never be used for, no matter who was asking. Number 1, mass domestic surveillance of American citizens. Number 2, fully autonomous weapons systems, AI that kills without a human making the final call. Those 2 guardrails are about to become the center of the biggest fight in AI history. In January 2026, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth issued an internal AI strategy memo directing that all Pentagon AI contracts incorporate what he called any lawful use language within 180 days. Translation: remove the restrictions. Negotiations between Anthropic and the DoD deteriorated fast. By February 24th, Dario Amodei was reportedly given a direct ultimatum: strip the guardrails against mass surveillance and autonomous weapons, or face designation as a national security supply chain risk, the same label historically reserved for foreign adversaries like Huawei. Amodei's deadline was 5 p.m. on February 27th. He didn't blink. Amodei published a public letter that Thursday evening laying out Anthropic's position: constitutional concerns, ethical concerns, and technical concerns about unleashing AI for domestic mass surveillance and autonomous killing, and Hegseth made good on the threat. President Trump directed every federal agency to immediately cease all use of Anthropic's technology. Hegseth announced the Pentagon was designating Anthropic a supply chain risk to national security, not just banned from DoD, banned from any contractor, supplier, or partner that does business with the US military. And within hours of that announcement, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman stepped in and announced a new Pentagon deal. The same capabilities, reportedly subject to the same restrictions Anthropic had just refused to drop. The irony was not lost on anyone paying attention. You would think that would be the end of it. You would be wrong. Fast forward to this past Friday, June 13th. Anthropic had just launched a new model called Fable 5, a public-facing version of its most advanced system, Mythos. At 5:21 p.m. Eastern, Anthropic received a directive from the US government citing national security concerns under export control authorities. The order: suspend all access to both Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for every foreign national, not just users in other countries, but any foreign national anywhere on Earth, including Anthropic's own non-citizen employees, people who literally built these models. Because the scope of the order was so broad, Anthropic had no choice but to pull the plug on both models entirely for all users to ensure compliance. What triggered it? Anthropic believes the government became aware of a jailbreak technique, a method of getting around the model's safety guardrails. They reviewed the demonstration and concluded it showed the technique being used to identify a small number of previously known minor software vulnerabilities. Anthropic's position: the same capability exists in OpenAI's GPT 5.5 and other public models, no jailbreak required. Anthropic complied with the order, but they did not stay quiet. In their public statement, they said they believe the government should have the ability to block unsafe AI deployments, but that it needs to be part of a process that is transparent, fair, clear, and grounded in technical facts. And this action, in their words, does not meet any of those criteria. Let's zoom out, because this is bigger than one company and one government fight. Here is the core tension. Anthropic spent thousands of hours red teaming Fable 5 before launch. They worked with the US government, the UK's AI Security Institute, and multiple private third-party organizations. Their safeguards were actually criticized by users for being too broad and blocking legitimate use cases. And even after all of that, the model still got pulled. If that standard applies broadly, almost every frontier AI model is at risk. Every powerful model can be jailbroken in some specific context. If a narrow jailbreak demonstration is enough to justify a total shutdown order with no warning and limited technical evidence, then we may have just witnessed the first real limit on what AI the public is actually allowed to access. AI policy expert Dean Ball, who briefly served in the Trump administration, called it, and I am quoting here, simply cartoonish. He pointed out the contradiction of an administration that is comfortable exporting advanced AI chips to China, but wants to ban every non-American on Earth from using our best models. Britain, Canada, allied nations, all cut off. Others argued that Anthropic helped create this situation by marketing Mythos as too dangerous to release. When you describe your own product as a potential national security risk in every press release, eventually a government takes you at your word. Both of those things can be true at the same time. So if you are a founder, a fractional operator, or a developer building on AI right now, what does this actually mean for you? A few things. First, model risk is real. If you are building a product or a workflow on any single AI provider's frontier model, this week is a reminder that access can disappear overnight. Diversification of your AI stack is not just a technical decision anymore. It is a business continuity decision. Second, the AI regulatory environment is not static. The rules around what AI can do, who can access it, and what restrictions apply are actively being written right now. If you are building in this space, you need to be watching this story closely, not just for compliance reasons, but because the competitive landscape can shift based on these decisions. When Claude went down, users flooded to alternatives. The market moved instantly. Third, and this is the one that I think is most underappreciated, companies that hold the line on ethics can pay a real short-term price. Anthropic lost a $200 million government contract and got labeled a national security risk because they would not let their AI be used for mass surveillance and autonomous weapons. Whatever your position on any of this, that took something. That decision has consequences. The question this story forces every AI company and everyone building on AI to answer is, what are your lines and are you actually willing to hold them? Here's where things stand right now. Anthropic says they believe this is a misunderstanding and that they are working to restore access as quickly as possible. The litigation from the February blacklisting is still active. This story is not over, not by a long shot. But here is what I keep coming back to as someone who builds with these tools professionally. The model exists, the capability exists, Anthropic did the safety work, and it still got pulled. We may be entering a phase of AI development where the most powerful tools are simply not available to the general public, not because companies are being reckless, but because governments are deciding that frontier AI is too strategically important to leave unrestricted. I have been covering AI through the lens of the people who build with it, not the hype cycle, not the fear cycle, but what actually matters for your business, your strategy, and your decisions. This story is one of the most consequential ones I have seen, and I will be following every development as it unfolds. I want to know what you think. Is the government right to act aggressively on AI national security concerns, even without full transparency? Or is this the kind of overreach that hands our competitors a massive advantage and chills the entire industry? Drop your take in the comments. I read everyone. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what is happening at the intersection of AI and government power, do me a favor and hit subscribe right now. I cover AI strategy, automation, regulatory developments, and what all of this actually means for founders and operators building in the real world. New videos drop regularly, and this Anthropic story is going to keep moving. You will want to be here when it does. And if you know another founder or operator who needs to understand what is at stake with AI regulation right now, share this video with them. This is the kind of thing our community needs to be talking about. I am JT. I will catch you in the next one.